Today's Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, and we're going to start the Finance Committee meeting at 7:05.
Short and to the point.
And scare everyone away, Mr. Lopez.
All right, let's move on to, there's no public comments. We're going to move on to agenda item number 3, review and discussion of the financial audit 2018-2019. Ms. Rendon?
Yes, sir. We have here Representative Mr. Cascos, sir, and he will be given a review of the financial audit that will be presented for the 2018-2019 and will be presented on Tuesday for adoption. So, Mr. Cascos.
Thank you very much. Members of the board, first of all, thank you for your public service. I think we ought to have finance committee meetings more often. That way it just evacuates the whole room. There is no romance in presenting audit reports, unfortunately. But in this case, my name is Carlos Cascos, and my firm are your independent auditors. I hope that before you've had the opportunity to review some of the documents that are part of the total audit that you will receive later on in the week. What I want to do is just focus on the actual audit, and for those of y'all that have maybe never been through an audit before, I'd like to briefly go over what it is and what it is not. An audit is simply a CPA firm comes in to test randomly transactions, verifying through third-party sources balances on the balance sheet, on the also doing what we would call testing of the transactions. But let me go into that a little bit. It'd be impossible for any CPA firm to come in and test 100% of your transactions. You do thousands of transactions per year. But what we do is we randomly select based on a systematic random methodology certain transactions. It involves payroll, purchasing principally, expenditures, and based on that sample, if we find that 10% of the sample is flawed for whatever reason, then we're pretty comfortable that the whole population, 10% of that population is flawed. And so I've started referring to these tests that we do as a forensic examination of that transaction. Because what it does, it starts from the infancy stage of the transaction. It may be a requisition, purchase order, invoice, delivery of goods and services, payment, posting to the books. So we actually look at I can't tell you how many items we look at, but we do look at those, and we take that particular transaction from the beginning stage all the way through its disposition. If we find something like, let's say that goods are provided to you before a purchase order is even issued, that's wrong. Or if the invoice amounts don't agree to what the board approved or the purchase order, that is a discrepancy. That basically results in a management letter. Now we find one out of 100 items and it's not really material. We don't say anything. We will convey that to the administration. Look, this happens. It was one anomaly out of the 100 or 60 that we tested. But if we find a chronic reoccurring of it, then we do report that. I will tell you what an audit is not. An audit is not meant to catch or detect fraudulent activity, embezzlements, misappropriations. That's not what this type of audit is. Now, there are engagements that we've done in the past where we are selected to go and specifically look for that. But this type of financial and compliance audit is not meant for that. In all the opinions that you will read, you'll find the wording, the financial statements are fairly stated. That means that anybody reading it, if you're off, your all's threshold is, let's say, much higher than a smaller school district. I'm not going to mention them, but also your threshold isn't as large as, let's say, Brownsville School District. To them, to you, a $10 million or $5 million deviation in something could be material to the financials, but to BISD, it would not. When you're sitting at a $600 million budget or so, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million is not significant. I mean, it's a lot of money, but based on the financial statements, it's not considered material. And that's so materiality, it kind of differentiates from district to district depending on what your fund balance is. Now, first of all, let me congratulate you, first of all, the board, the administration, for earning an unmodified opinion on all your programs on the financials. What that means, I was asked by a board member several years, it wasn't this board, but it was another board member from another school district up the valley, and I said, you know, you all have earned an unmodified opinion. That is the best opinion that any CPA firm can give any entity, whether it's, you know, in the public sector or the private sector. Well, this board member, relatively new, said, well, you know, I don't know if unmodified is good. I mean, what do we have to do to get a modified opinion? And for those of you who don't know what that is, well, that's a no-no, because you get a modified opinion, that's an automatic F with TEA on your first stuff. And I said, well, look, you really don't want to do that. Unfortunately, we have had to issue modified opinions on school districts, and it's you know, they have time to fix it, but at the time we did the audit, they could not reconcile A, B, C, and D. So again, congratulations on earning that. Another congratulatory thing that, you know, based on where we live in the valley. We live in an area that is very susceptible to hurricanes, flooding, tornadoes as a result of the hurricanes. It's so important. It's so important to have a good days of operations in your unrestricted fund balance. I've got a district that's got 1 day of operations. And I've got some that have 100, 200 days of operations. Really what we'd like to see, I'd like to see, and there is no litmus test, but I can tell you 3 days is not good. 85 days, which is what you have, is better than average. Anywhere from 60 to 75 days, that means that, you know, you had your fund balance is right at 27 million. Your expenditures 115 million per year. It costs you $300 and some odd thousand a day to open up the doors to these buildings every single day. So when I say that you've got 85 days, that means that if everybody in the audience and everybody watching this decided not to pay their ad valorem taxes by the end of the year, and you had to dip into your rainy day fund, you could technically operate for 85 days. Still pay your employees, pay your teachers, pay your staff, turn on the lights, open up your doors for 85 days. A friend of mine does a school district that was damaged severely by Harvey, and it depleted their fund balance. I mean, they didn't have enough to cover, but then again, few entities did. But nonetheless, they were able to operate because, as we know, we're still waiting for FEMA reimbursements. Well, I can't say we anymore. I'm not the county anymore, but from Dolly. That was 2008, and they're still awaiting for FEMA reimbursement. Sometimes FEMA never reimburses you, or it takes them so long, so you've got to have that rainy day fund available. So San Benito ISD is in good shape in terms of your unrestricted fund balance of 27 million and your days of operations. And you got clean opinions on your financial side, on your programs, and your internal controls. And that's about the best report card that you guys can get, and ladies, on the financial side of your audit. I encourage you to keep that up. If you have not developed or implemented a days of operations policy, many school districts don't have one. I would encourage you to look at it, study it, because you never know what future boards are going to do. And I think when you finally depart your public service, you want to leave a good, strong, healthy fund balance, and hope that subsequent folks that come in don't just say, well, we got this, we're going to go ahead and build something or spend it on raises. Fund balances should never be used for operations. It just doesn't happen, because it's easy to do it one time, but then what do you do next year and the year after that? So fund balances should be used for one-shot deals, building a school, buying equipment. If you can touch it, you can hit it, you can spend it. But I don't encourage it, and few districts do that, but I have had some that'll go out and they want to give raises and this, and well, yeah, but that creates a problem, for you. Now, on the revenue side, if you want to look at I don't know if you got this schedule, but you all did a pretty good job on the revenue side in terms of budget to actual. You were short about $445,000, in the fiscal year. You can't control revenues. You cannot control what comes in, but you can control what you expend. Now, your actual expenditures did exceed your budgeted, but you all know that. And it was about $5 million because it was for, if I remember, it was capital improvements or that y'all approved. But those are one-shot deals. But you still have a very healthy fund balance. 27 million is nothing to sneeze at. And of course, again, let me reiterate that your days of operations are very, very, very healthy. So I just want to, congratulate you. I do want to thank your administration, your financial staff. If you all hear what's going on, my firm, my staff, and them have been working literally 12 to 15 hours a day, making sure that we get this out, for you, and we anticipate doing that in the next few days. We're not totally, we're still waiting for some information to complete the management's discussion and analysis, and then some other statistical stuff, but for the most part, we'll be ready before the deadline of the 27th. And really, that's all I have for y'all today.
Mr. Cascos, I want to thank you so much for that, for simplifying and, the financial audit, but more importantly, on highlighting, the importance of having a healthy fund balance, but also giving credit where credit is due, and that's, our administrative staff have done a tremendous job, and I think it's good to hear it from an external auditor, for a financial auditor to just, to explain, what goes behind, the operational, finances of a school district and how healthy we are right now, and what are we doing to make sure that our staff, make sure they understand that, and our, of course, our parents too and our constituents. So I just want to thank you so much for, for the audit and the explanation, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any comments? Rendon, anything?
No, I just want to say thank you, and yes, thank you to my staff. They have been working very diligent, as well as yours, and credit is due. My staff has stepped up and try to provide. Just a note is, we've had our challenges because we've had 3 different firms with 3 different softwares. So we've had a lot of adjusting entries, but we're working through that, and hopefully we will continue a smooth transition to next year. It'll be easier.
Yeah, we had this discussion yesterday about, what you need to have continuity, not only in your software. Okay, if it's not working, fine, but you got to have some continuity. And again, you've had 3 different softwares, 3 different firms, 3 different years, and I'll plug. You need to have some continuity. you really do, because every year is a learning process, and it's just not healthy for the administration and for staff, to be doing that on for whatever reason. It's just not a good idea. My understanding, it'll be on the agenda for Tuesday as well, under the consent part.
But most likely.
Okay. I'm asking if you need for me to be here again. I'll be more than happy to, and I'll help you run everybody off when we talk about the audit. But if not, that's fine. If y'all can let me know if you'd like me to be here, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a great idea for our constituents that come and attend the meetings to hear something positive, coming from our financial
So
audit.
want me to report it again on Tuesday?
Yes, sir. I think it'll be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Not a
Castro.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may be excused.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Agenda item, let's move on to agenda item number 4, review and discussion of the proposal of RFP number 1019 GMS, General Merchandise for Service supplemental list. Ms.
I'll
Rendon?
take it. Sir, we went out, this is something that we did previously. This is RFPs for general merchandise supplement list, and this is just to add local vendors so that we can comply with the law and have vendors participate. We are doing a little different, which is rolling, which means is that they don't have to wait a whole year to get on. So you might see this as coming at other vendors. We would like to increase doing business with them. I'll bring them as necessary.
Okay. Agenda item? Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 5, review and discussion of the proposal of RFP number 1019-VDV, vehicles district-wide. Ms. Rendon?
This item went out for RFP because we have, and correct me, Mr., 2 vans and one truck. It's being awarded to 2 different vendors, and we considered price, and I got 2 local, the vans will go to a local vendor, and 1 truck to Bogus Ford.
Ms. Rendon, what department?
The
these?
vans are for the cafeteria department, and the cafeteria department are the vans, and the truck is for the maintenance department. And they are budgeted under there. It's just, since they're not on a local vendors or not, and it exceeded the price, we needed to go out for an RFP. Exceeded the 50,000 per year.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Agenda item? Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 6, review and discussion of the KLC video surveillance systems for 23 sites, 16 campuses, and 7 departments. Ms. Rendon?
This item is, and I have here Mr. Fred Perez and Chief Sosa. This is money that we budgeted for the security project. If there's money's budgeted in the budget to, and you can come on up. We want to start our security project. At the same time, Mr. Perez has some plug-in information. There is a grant that TA has out there that we're applying for, but it only covers a fraction of it. But he wanted to give some information, and it is retroactive to where, once it's grant, we can go and reclassify some of the expenditures back to the beginning of the year. Sir?
Okay, Mr. Sosa, can you give us a real quick, just a real quick, brief synopsis of how is this security cameras going to benefit the district?
This is going to benefit the district. We're going to put them in strategic locations. Right now, we do have some campuses that are missing some cameras in areas. We've had some incidents around our campuses, and of course, you well know we had an incident about a month and a half ago, and the cameras that we currently have right now are not that useful. We do need the upgrade. These will be IP cameras, better resolution, better playback. This company, KLC, is Texas-based. We're looking at 610 cameras for the whole district. Currently, we have 521 cameras at this time. Of course, the current price for the cameras is $655,428. It's a good price for the amount of cameras that we're getting for the district. And like Mrs. Rendon mentioned, we are working on a grant, or Mr. Perez is working on a grant that will offset some of the costs for that price.
Awesome.
655,000?
So I'm assuming, sir, that these cameras, do they record 24 hours a day?
Yes, sir.
or-
They're recording 24 hours a day. They could go back to about 30 days or so. Right now, our systems are anywhere between 10 to 15 days. It's due to old technology, and we do need the upgrade.
So how long would this process take?
According to the company, if it gets approved, they're starting in January, and it should last anywhere between 6 to 7 months.
Mr. Sosa, I didn't see it on the buildings. Is the ACT building one of them too?
The Ag building, sir, I believe.
The VMA?
Let me see.
I saw some cameras. I don't know if they're working or not there, so.
Right now, we do have cameras in the Ag building, and they're fairly new. Berta Cavasa and the Ag building have new cameras. We are currently experiencing some technical problems, and they're working on those right now. But Berta Cavasa will not be part of this, nor the Transportation Department, and of course, the old technology building.
But VMA will.
Yes, sir, VMA will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the
Sosa,
presentation, sir.
The old technology and the old infrastructure, what are we doing with that? Just tossing it, or?
I don't have any plans for it. The one on Adele Street? Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm assuming we're replacing some of the older.
Right now, the old technology building on Adele Street, we don't use. It's an empty building.
Yeah.
That's the building that we looked at with Su Clinica to see if they could come in and put a clinic in there. At this point in time, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do so because it's some renovation they feel will be necessary. So if that does not go through, it will still sit unused at this time.
Maybe you misunderstood my question. It wasn't the actual building, but the new technology.
Oh, you're talking about the Lander building? Or
No, just the.
What are they gonna do with the old cameras?
Oh, the old cameras, we're gonna move them out. I don't know, they'll auction them off at the end of the year. or put them at the old Berta Cavazo for auction.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And in regards to the grant, we did have to present it. According to TEA, we were at the last conference we were at, anybody who applies will get funded, and we will get $170,000 of it, which we will directly put towards this bill.
Awesome.
And I'll also add to that, we knew this could have been done a year ago. Our cameras are in the condition where they needed to be replaced. But we did a separate grant, COPS grant.
Yes, sir, Cops Grant.
We applied for that full amount. We did not receive that, but we also knew House Bill 3 would have something for security. We weren't sure how much, and now we know it's a formula grant, so we know what we will be receiving, so,
Righty.
anyhow.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate
Thank you,
the presentation.
guys,
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Agenda item. Let's move on to agenda item number 7, review and discussion, the proposal of the membership of the purchasing cooperative with Central Texas Purchasing Alliance. Ms. Rendon?
This is we're proposing for consideration to join this cooperative. This is just another co-op. It's no charge to the district. We just need approval so that we can have another array of co-ops that we can purchase from.
Agenda item? Can we move on to agenda item number 8, committee concerns?
I've got one. Actually, it's just a question of clarification. I was, after looking at the newspaper over the weekend, there was 3 RFPs out there. And the one in question that I have is RFP 1119 PCS, Professional Consultant Services, bid item, Professional Consultant Services, bid description, Professional Consultant Services, and nothing else. And I looked at the other ones, and the other ones did have more information, like description and a synopsis on it. Ms. Rendon, can you elaborate on that one, if you don't mind? Or I can show it to you.
I'll bring Mr. Cavazos is here. I don't know if it's a description. He can provide which ones are being advertised.
How you doing, sir?
Yes, the professional consultant services that we were going out for are basically just consultants that we hire for the district that do services. Say, for instance, the band department, the choir department. I think on there we had also some child nutrition consultants that were also on there. I know I had gotten several calls about architectural, and it has nothing to do with it. It's just
So-
people that we hire that the school does business with that requires a consulting contract.
Right.
We're trying to get them on an approved list, so like that.
I
we-
see. So wouldn't it be prudent to add what you're looking for on the paper?
On the description?
On the-
Yeah, sure.
You
sure.
know,
Yeah.
it's
And I've
just,
gotten several phone calls, and I've kind of clarified a little bit, and that's my mistake now.
Oh, okay.
And this is also gonna be like a rolling bid, like Ms. Rendon was saying
Sure.
before, to add more people to our consultant contract list.
okay.
So I will clean up the description on the
Appreciate
next
it.
one.
Thank you, sir.
No problem, sir.
That's all.
Well, on to agenda item number 9, adjournment at 9:28. I mean, 7:28, sorry.